Hey everybody, Bill here. So we got some requests to kind of cover keyword research and implementing a keyword focused strategy on your website in more depth. So actually today we're going to get into it a little bit more. So just kind of reiterate, in terms of keywords, what is the actual key to doing all of this? And so just to kind of reiterate, the key here is to overall you're trying to find the best ranking or best performing keywords you can, and then using them to implement content on your website. So just to kind of dig into that just a little bit more, to really succeed at this, you need to figure out what your audience, what the people who are most likely to buy what you're selling, what they're searching for, what they intend for when they actually go to the search engine, and you need to build specialized content on your website that is going to grab their interest and then build that trust to make your conversion. And again, I really want to keep coming back to the word content. In the old days, there was all these tricks out there, that became commonplace of keyword stuffing and all of these other tricks that are just do not work anymore. Content is king. I can't really repeat that enough. Content is king. The biggest thing that you can do to make sure your website stands out is to build loads and loads of high quality content. But the question is how do you do that, and how do you scope that content? How do you write that content to rank? And that is where keyword research comes into play. So the name of the game here is just building as much list as possible of large amounts of keywords, and then figuring out which of those keywords ranks, how they perform, and then building content on your website to do that. So let's kind of talk about maybe some idea, or give you some ideas about how you're going to go about that on your site. So if you had followed my advice in previous videos, you'd be on your WordPress site and you will have had already installed on your site Google Sitekit. And this is a great starting point. So if you've already got it installed and you already have everything set up on it, you're going to have Google Search Console and Google Analytics already here. And these are some great starting points. They're free, and there's lots of paid tools out there. But for getting started, free tools are really a great place to get started so you can get your feet wet. And one of the best things that Google Search Console gives us is a list of what we're already ranking for. And so to get even a better idea, I would recommend actually going from out of here and looking into your actual full stats. So I have a website here that I've connected a while back, and that way I could start gathering data. And this is for a company that's based out of far eastern Pennsylvania and really specializes in party and event rentals, more on like the tent side rather than inflatables. And so if we say that this was your company, what we could start doing is just simply looking at what we're ranking for right now. And of course, any small company that hasn't done a lot of SEO optimization yet, right now they're ranking really mostly just for their own name. But you start to see that we're getting some ideas as we move further down the list, that some of the best places that we could start breaking into here would be in party rentals or tent rentals. And so in terms of kind of moving along for this video, the one I've chosen to actually go ahead with here to kind of branch into a strategy with is tent rentals in Philadelphia. And so we just kind of do some common sense thinking here. So we notice that the singular as opposed to the plural seems to have a little bit more volume. And just to back up a little bit, why did I choose this rather than party rentals? I think really more it was just an intuitive kind of common sense decision. Even though this has more search volume, there's going to be a lot of noise in terms of party rentals that breaks outside of what this particular company does, which really, really specializes in tents. So this is really a great starting spot in terms of choosing a set of keywords and really starting to craft a strategy around it. So now that we've done that, so what's our next step? Well, we can even still stick in free tools here by using Moz.com's Keyword Explorer. And this is kind of a great tool as well. And again, it's free. You just have to give them your email address. And again, like I've said before, there are lots of paid tools for this. Ahrefs, SEMrush, these are all great tools out there that you can look into. Definitely recommend paying maybe for some premium tools after you've gotten your feet wet, but for now, what we're doing today is just kind of a great place to at least get started. So what I've done is I've punched in my keyword here. And really the best thing that we can gather here for now is just kind of getting a basic idea of what type of volume is out there. And we can see this is a fairly low volume search term. Difficulty is just really more of a measure of how hard it would be to rank for. We can see that's fairly low. This one has a fairly high organic click-through rate. So from here, and then perhaps most usefully, it also provides us with some suggestions to work off of. And so what I want to reiterate, what we're doing here right now is we're looking to build first a kind of a focus keyword term or phrase that's going to be kind of the focus of the content that we're eventually going to build. And we also want to build kind of a small group of related keywords around that that are related to it that we can then interject into the content that we're going to build as well, that will help us both score higher for the core term we're looking to score for, and also maybe help us to score for several terms off of one page. And so we want to kind of keep building on that, keep building that list up. So, you know, right now, so we know that right now we're kind of thinking that our focus for any content that we're going to build off of this strategy is tent rental Philadelphia. And we can see here that it gives us some ideas for other things to think about. Good ones that we can see here is simply adding the word prices. And it doesn't have really any real volume, but this is a low enough volume one overall that we don't have to worry too much about whether or not we're targeting the highest volume keywords. Right now, let's just make sure that we are picking logical ones that give us a chance to get onto Google. And so other good ones here could be tent rentals Philadelphia, PA, table rental Philadelphia. And from there, that just kind of gives us other ideas as well, chairs, things of that nature. Then the next thing we can do is use a great tool called answerthepublic.com. Again, we punch our idea in there. And what this will do is use several different concepts to start helping us build up other ideas for related ones. And so as you can see, it does things like add prepositions into our search terms in different ways to give us ideas. It does comparison type stuff to let us know if we could put things like versus, verse, like, or, and in our search terms to help build off them, create longer and more specific search terms, and so on and so forth. So again, we could just go through this list and begin to build, you know, a list of a few dozen more ideas based off of that focus. And now eventually, one great free thing that we can do is to simply type that search term into Google, and we can pay attention to if we are hooked up properly into Google Search Console, and it detects that this is a search term, that a property that we own and hooked up through analytics and Search Console is showing up there. It will actually give us a nice little information box here that will give us some more information. And so as you can see, we have some work to do for this client to get them up on this list. But things that we can really find out from this page is, let's look at, you know, we can look at who the best performing people are here. We can go into their pages, take a look at their content, figure out what they're doing right. Maybe just kind of take a moment, look through their content, figure out what kind of keywords that they are using, what kind of focus, you know, they're doing, pay attention to how they're writing the content. Because, you know, we don't want to steal anything, of course, but these people are on top for a reason. So definitely borrow and get inspiration as much as you can from these top performers. And now that we've put all that together, you're really ready to hit the ground running on your own website. And so, the key here is now that you have this list of things that you've put together, so again, let's reiterate what that whole point was, is now you've created a core, what we're going to call your focus keyword or your key phrase. And again, that is going to be now the core of whatever content we're getting ready to build is going to be about. And then you're going to have anywhere from a few up to a dozen to a few dozen related keywords that you can then sprinkle throughout that content as well to make it score well. So what kind of content are we talking about building? Well, on a typical IO site, there's lots of places that you could be sprinkling this information. So to go back to things that we've talked about before, you could go to your inventory page, which lists all of your categories, and start to use some of that. But probably the most useful thing that you could do, given the process that we just undertook, would be to start building out landing pages. And I can't reiterate enough the value of having a lot of landing pages on your website, each one very specifically targeted around a focus key phrase. So, again, you would go into your site, go to pages, add new, you simply just add your title like we've showed you before. You get into Elementor, you start building your page. Go back and watch our landing page videos from a week or two ago, if you need some ideas on how to approach landing pages. But from there, again, just to reiterate that process, is think up the keywords, figure out which of those is your priority and make that your focus. And again, sprinkle a lot of related words around it, and then come into your website and then use those ideas to build out, again, content on your inventory pages, your category pages, and your product pages, and then build out as many as you can think of landing pages that are targeted to specific demographics and groups of people that you'd like to target, with verbiage and content geared specifically for them. And as always, if you need any help with any of this, reach out to me at support@InflatableOffice.com. We're now offering new SEO packages, landing page packages. We have all kinds of cool stuff that we can do for you if you want to pay us to do it. We're also always here to provide advice. And as always, if you guys have any other questions or any else thing you'd like to see covered in these videos, please let me know and I'd be happy to do so. Well, guys, thanks for your time as always, and have a great day.